Alright, so I'll get right to the point. Yakuza Kiwami 1 is the remaster of the Yakuza 1 game from 2005 for the PS2. It it utilizes the Dragon engine that you see in Yakuza 0 as well as Yakuza Kiwami 2, the newest Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, and the upcoming Yakuza 3, 4, 5 remasters. So what is there to say about Yakuza Kiwami? Yakuza Kiwami, honestly, is a slimmed down version of Yakuza 0. And that's not a bad thing. It is a great game overall. It has essentially every aspect in Yakuza 0 implemented into Yakuza Kiwami. And I understand Yakuza Kiwami is technically, or was technically, the very first Yakuza game. But the thing is, Yakuza Kiwami doesn't have as much charm in the story or personalities as Yakuza 0. It doesn't have nearly as much charm or diversity. It definitely makes sense now for Yakuza 0's ending with Goro Majima, because that whole transition was just really unexpected and random and quick. But that makes sense now, having played through Yakuza Kiwami. The story itself is still amazing, nevertheless. My gripe with the story is, compared to Yakuza 0, it's really linear. It's a strong, focused story about bonds and friendships tested over time, literally. But it's really weird because Yakuza 0, the storyline was like a whole intricacy of webbing condensed into one story. Yakuza Kiwami is literally just one central storyline, and that's about all there was. That's a small gripe that it's more linear than Yakuza 0. Now keep in mind, I'm playing through the Yakuza series in timeline order, so it's Yakuza 0 all the way to Yakuza 6. As far as the storytelling and the narration of it, I think that Yakuza Kiwami is definitely a better successor for the storytelling aspects than Yakuza 0. They both are excellent in storytelling, masterful, but wherein my Yakuza 0 review, I reviewed it and I stated that it had 4 types of cutscene styles. Yakuza Kiwami, I would say, only has 3. They completely got rid of the standstill shot-by-shot framing of the artistic variety, and I didn't necessarily have a gripe with them. I just thought they were poorly implemented in Yakuza 0, and I thought they were just unnecessary for that game. And I'm glad that they're not in Yakuza Kiwami. They weren't a bad thing, I just didn't really expect them in the games. They still have the in-game cutscenes, though, where there's no talking. You just have to keep pressing the button just to keep progressing, and again, that's PS2 era type of storytelling. It's crap. The in-story cutscenes, the very detailed ones, same as Yakuza 0. They don't look as detailed, but they're still phenomenally shot and edited. The gameplay, essentially, I'm just going to go out on a whim. Maybe this is premature. I don't know. I didn't play the next 5 Yakuza games, but I'm going to go out on a whim here and say that the gameplay is essentially the exact same thing in every Yakuza game. It's just a button mash beat 'em up, pretty much. It does have different styles, just like in Yakuza 0. It had 4 different variety of styles that you can transition to and adapt to the fighting. And you can acquire new abilities in said styles, and you can gain an increase of health, increase of a heat meter and everything, but it's essentially just a button mashing beat 'em up. Biggest gripe for me would be it still has arcadey feels and mini games and sub stories in it, but honestly, they don't mesh very well in the storyline as they did in Yakuza 0. Like, literally, you'll be on the run. You need to reach this location because somebody's held hostage, and then literally some person comes up and talks to you about something, and then they pickpocket you and run away, and you're supposed to go and take care of that instead of rescuing this woman who's in major distress. No, I don't buy it. I think that's really poorly implemented in Yakuza Kiwami. So that's honestly my biggest gripe. So graphics are still stellar, and they're actually amazing for a PS2 remaster. The story is very strong and focused, but it's really linear. And also I should note that Yakuza Kiwami's storyline took me roughly 12 hours to beat and go through it, and that was about 12% of the game completion. So the storyline is a little or around the halfway mark as how long Yakuza 0's story is. And I mean, that's fine. The story was still a strong story. It's just Yakuza 0's story, like, it filled in every single gap and intricacy within its story. So it earned that runtime. Yakuza Kiwami, it still benefited from a shorter time length, but I mean, it's not like I'm complaining that it's like a 4-hour game. It's not. It's a 12 to 13-hour game. And that was on the easiest difficulty again. I will reiterate myself. I play the easiest difficulty in games. If I like them that much, I'll replay them on the hardest difficulty. Unfortunately, in the Yakuza game series, you only have easy to hard. Legend isn't unlocked until your first playthrough. So, I mean, I'm really only stuck with easy at first. Anyway. But, yeah, so, great graphics, strong story, though linear. Mostly stellar storytelling. It does have some tropiness in the story, but I'll forgive it because it's an older game, and you know, nowadays most people are desensitized to stories and, you know, the gritty nature of stories and exposition and whatnot. So I'll knock that off because, you know, we're talking 15 years ago this game was originally made. So yeah, my final score for Yakuza Kiwami is a very strong 7.5 out of 10. Thank you.